Hi, I'm Steelfur of Steelfur Speaks, and this is my keyword guide to every set in the world of Flesh and Blood. What keywords were introduced in that set, what keywords came back in that set, and what sort of new abilities and things like that did we see developing. I vision this as a guide for new and returning players who are wondering, when did that keyword come into the game, or I've missed a few sets, what have I missed? It's an evergreen guide, so these videos are, in chronological order, in a playlist with new stuff added. So if you're joining us now for Dynasty, and you're thinking, well, how did this all start off? What keywords came first? You can go to the top of the playlist, to WTR, put that on, and then it'll take you through in chronological order. All of the videos are all like 6, 7, 8 minutes long, so it's not going to take ages to go through all of them. And by the time you've finished, you'll have seen every keyword in Fab with a bit of an understanding how it works. There are 4 new keywords introduced in Dynasty, and we're going to talk about those. This series doesn't really cover the basics of the rules, and we're not really going over keywords like go again or dominate, things we've discussed in earlier videos, and things on equipment and things like that, like battle worn, which were discussed in WTR when that was introduced. So I might flag where certain keywords were introduced and you can have more of a discussion about them, but I want to keep these videos nice and short, so we're mostly discussing new keywords. The 4 new keywords added in Dynasty are piercing, overpower, contract, and surge. So let's look at overpower first, as it's a generic keyword that's found across all heroes, especially newer heroes in multiple different forms, different classes, etc. Overpower is similar to dominate, but it's specific to say this can't be defended by more than one action card. It doesn't really care where the action card came from, so whereas dominate cares about cards being played from hand or arsenal, Overpower just cares about action cards, and that can include cards we'll see later on, which are both actions and equipment, etc., etc. There are dual cards that have multiple types. If it's an action card, only one of them can be played, even if the card is in arsenal or in play or an equipment. You can only defend with one action card. It's fairly easy to understand. That includes non-attack actions. It does not include attack reactions, defense reactions, or regular equipment, or anything else like that. It's just cards with the action keyword, whether they're non-attack actions or attack actions, or they're equipment actions. Okay, that's overpower. The next one is piercing. Piercing is a very simple keyword. It'll be piercing and then a number. If it's defended by an equipment, it has plus equal to the number of piercing. So this is piercing 1, which means if it's defended by an equipment, it gets +1. This is a static check, so if I play this attack reaction on an attack that is already being blocked by a piece of equipment, it will get that bonus retroactively. So it's just worth remembering there aren't a lot of attack reactions that do have piercing, but there are some. So if you block with equipment, you can get someone to play piercing on top of it, which they will then maybe result in you taking damage and could surprise you against certain classes. Next up, we have contract. Now, contract it's a bold-faced keyword. It's referenced a lot on other cards. All it means is it gives you a stipulation. You are contracted to banish, and then it gives you a type of cards. In this case, opponent's yellow cards. So here's what you need to do. You need to go and banish yellow cards. You can see on another card, you are contracted to banish opponent's red card. So it gives you a target for your contract. Then, whenever you complete the contract, so whenever you meet the criteria that's completing the contract, you create a silver token. So contract is set up in here's a target, a thing to do, and then here's a reward. And contract is always, at this point, banishing cards that meet a certain criteria. So red cards, blue cards, cards with cost 2 or greater. So it'll name a criteria for a card, and if you succeed in banishing it, you complete a contract, you get a silver token. It's worth noting this could be changed in the future. It could say you're contracted to banish opponents' red cards. Whenever you complete this contract, create a gold token, etc. There is flexibility built in there, but this idea of you banishing a card and then getting a payout is how contract works. And then, of course, there are lots of cards that let you banish the card when it hits. That's how most of the contracts work, though there are some other ways. Like, for example, surgical extraction not only banishes when it hits, but it also banishes from the top of deck. And there are some other ways to banish. It is worth noting that once this is in play and the combat chain is open, it doesn't care how you banish the card. So this card doesn't need to be the reason that you're banishing the card to get the silver token. And what I mean by that is if I attack with this card and then this card, because I have go again somehow, and this banishes a yellow card, I will complete this contract again. Okay? And I will get a silver. And it's important to note as well that the contract does repeat itself. So if I banished a yellow card here and a yellow card here, I would get 2 silver. But it doesn't repeat itself multiple times for each instance of a banish effect if it's part of the same banish effect. So this banishes multiple cards from the top of the deck. And if they're all yellow, I still only get 1 silver. So whenever I complete the contract, I get 1 silver token. But this isn't banishing the cards one at a time. It's one group of banishings, so I would only get 1 silver token. However, if the card banishes them cards as 2 separate effects, if it splits it up, I would get 2 silver tokens. Okay? That's just worth understanding. And that will generate resources for me. Okay. The next keyword is Surge, which is a wizard keyword, which is found on wizard cards, obviously. Surge is a keyword that just specifies a certain amount of arcane damage. So you'll say have Surge, and then if this deals more than 5 damage, usually the number printed on the card, then you get a bonus. So Surge usually says the number printed on the card. So if you find a way of increasing the amount of damage it does, then it gives you a little bit of a kicker bonus. And there's obviously lots of ways to increase that damage. Deal 3 damage to a hero. If you deal more than 3 damage, opt 1. So this is just a way to add kicker effects onto arcane damage. Usually it scales across the colors of the card and just matches the damage the card deals and gives you a little bit of a bonus. After that, we see the return of things like Transform, Phantasm, Ward, Spell Void, lots of other effects, Legendary, but those are the new keywords in the set. This is quite an exciting set, and obviously after this we move on to Outsiders, and this is the last supplemental set for a while.